is how we will be able to take the stakeholder relationship forward by thinking about how we leverage on these assets, such as land, agriculture, tourism, mining, how we are going to use these economic advantages to also improve and upscale our labor force, particularly the youth. Today we are speaking about 4IR, and now we are on 5IR. There are technologies that are being used in various sectors to drive productivity and efficiencies, and our youth needs to be upskilled. We're talking about future skills. Hence, it's important to always leverage these relationships with your SETAs, with your education and training institutions. And I also come from one of those institutions. So another thing that we also need to ask ourselves a question is, how do we set ourselves, our local economic targets? We may take decisions today, but we need to set targets. We need to be output, outcome and impact driven, and align these development plans and economic investments, potential economic investments, with our IDPs, our LED strategies. We also need to align them with our performance annual plans, and also make sure that they talk to the spatial development frameworks that we have. Because if you're going to be inviting industries, you've got to understand exactly how you have spatially planned for these industries to exist. And then lastly, we need to think about how we are going to use whatever development outcomes that we are going to pledge today to account back to our communities. So on that note, let me just say, I welcome you everybody, and I hope this engagement will be fruitful as we will deliberate. Thank you so much. And the next person that I'm going to call onto the program is Councillor Masebolo, who's going to welcome everybody as a member of council. Thank you.
Program Director, Dr. Nzo. I'm Councillor Mwalelo, not Councillor Msubulu. Yeah, Erikije na kwe wuteki loche maganda na our Honorable Mayor, Councillor Masidi Edward Paya, Renali, the Speaker of Council, Councillor Dikelet Mato, Ravali, Whip of Council, Councillor Masido Ratara, and also Olocha Mahoshia Rena, Mishata Aborena Yon Bonamo, Renale Mushato Aborena, Mushatua Ramkofa, Ravale Mushato Aborena, Mushatua Mahato, Ravale Mushato Aborena, Mushatua Machaga, Ravale Mushato Aborena, Mushatua Razaga, Ravali Mushato Aborena Mantata, Ravale Mushato Aborena Hoshika Wabraru, Kabu Lojo Wabraru, Ravale Mushato, Lady Board Farms, Ti Bonama Farm Patiana Yamulemole, and also to greet our official led by our MM, and also esteemed investors, distinguished guests, amen. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome to this exciting investor conference. Your presence signifies a shared vision for growth, innovation, and opportunity, and we are truly delighted to host such a distinguished group of investors, business leaders, and visionaries. As a municipality, we recognize that collaboration between the public and private sectors is essential to building vibrant, sustainable, and thriving communities. Today's conference serves as a testament to the powerful potential that lies create jobs, and improve the quality of life of our residents or communities. Your investment in our municipality will not lead to a great returns for your businesses, but also contribute to social and economic development of our communities. We understand that for investment to flourish, a foundation of trust, transparency, and shared objective must be laid. Our municipality is committed to providing business-friendly environment, a stable infrastructure, and the support necessary for success. Whether you are looking to expand operations, explore new ventures, or partner with local enterprises, we are ready to collaborate and ensure your efforts are met with enthusiasm and a positive environment. As we move forward, we encourage open dialogue, exchange of ideas, and building lasting relationships. Your insight and contribution will be invaluable in shaping the future of our municipality, and we are committed to supporting you at every step of the way. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We are excited about the opportunities that await and look forward to productive and inspiring conference. Let's work together to make a positive, lasting impact. Our restrooms are on my far right-hand side. You can use them. You are warmly welcome. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Councillor, for that warm welcome. My sincerest apologies for misspelling your name. I also can't even see properly. That's why I'm even wearing glasses, but it's worse when the font is very small. So the next person who is going to do the introduction of the guests is the Madam Speaker of Council, which is Councillor Matlau. Councillor Matlau, please join us on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director Dr. Nzo, for giving me this opportunity to acknowledge the guests that are within our midst. Let me stand on the protocol that has been established in this conference and convey my special greetings to the first citizen of this municipality, as we are all led by him. And Program Director, we are blessed with the presence of all traditional authorities in MolemoleLocal. I will start by acknowledging the traditional authority from Mahajo Tribal. Thank you. Within our midst, we are also blessed with the presence of Ratsaka Tribal. Got the presence of Vamushajawaha, Wamuleji, Mushajawa Shaloha. Renagape, Leva Mushajawa Mon, and Chifu Pirushwangona, Mushajawa Ramuba, Mushajawa Dinque. Renagape, Leva Mushajawa Mantata, Mumera Warina, Babushwangona. Renagape, the chief whip over Sefepi Solusa Maspala MolemoleLocal Councilor. We've got the executive committee members that are present in this conference. I'll start with the chairperson of Corporate Services, Councilor Mabe. Renagape, the chairperson of Finance, Budget and Treasury, Councilor Shaba. Rape Renale Councilor M.O. Mutulla, the chairperson of Community Services. We also have Councillor Chibabi, who is a member of the portfolio committee that has convened us today. Rekgopela all management is led by the municipal manager, Leno Emelela, Leno Dimedisha Baembarena. All officials of the municipal, and also all officials of MolemoleLocal Municipality, my humble apology. Yeah, lebo. Mo magareng ga rena re na le ba RevMed le ka no re mo leng gona la no dimedisha members of the conference. Ra leboga. Re na le ba MH Farming. Thank you, ma'am. Biotech World. Thank you. Leader. Ra leboga papa. CDM. Thank you. MISA. Ra leboga. City of Polokwane, the only city that we pride ourselves with, a grade 6 municipality in Limpopo. Globe Black, thank you. Coxstar, Ledad, TK and family. Talama Lodge, in Watere Mutokwa. Meru Group, thank you. Toba Silakulu Empire. Oh, Lord. Department of Agriculture, Ralevoa. Teta, thank you. Capricorn Tibet College, LGC, Dendron Secondary School, Ralevoa. Agda, thank you. Kangin Swallow Trading and Projects, Elimark Budere, NYDA, Muhodi FM, Mashimung MolemoleLocal Cooperative, Nkatago Global, Dr. Nzo. These are the only guests that I was requested to introduce. I deliberately not introduce the first citizen of this municipality because he's going to get a special introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Matlawe. It's actually very impressive to see the various sectors amongst us today. And a special shout out to LGCTA because I sit in the Research and Evaluation Committee. All right. As we are proceeding to the next item on the agenda, we have an official introduction of municipal officials. It's very important that we get to know who are the people who are the engine of the municipal institution. Mr. Maloba, can you please do those introductions? Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Let me greet your worship, the Mayor of MolemoleLocal Municipality Council, Edward Masilu Baya, all members of Council led by the Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks the beginning of an era on this special occasion of our first investor conference in MolemoleLocal. In keeping with African inherent culture, we don't see our visitors as an isolated entity. That is the reason why I was requested to come and introduce to you the administrative component of our municipality. Allow me, Program Director, the municipal manager, our boss, Mahato KE. We have in our midst Chief Financial Officer, Keizu. We are also blessed by the presence of Senior Manager LED&P, Mahatani, TCF. She is also the custodian of this occasion. Thank you very much. On the program, from Director, I don't see an item where it speaks of musical actors. But we have two actors here. The Acting Senior Manager, Technical Services, Ntatema Betwa. We also have the Acting Senior Manager, Corporate Services, Ntatema Nyero. We are also blessed by the presence of the Executive Manager in the Mayor's Office and the MM's Office, Ntate Mudisha. We also have Ntate Pata, who is Manager PMU. We also have Mrs. Wizo, MP, Manager Budget and Reporting. Ranpeka TD, Managers, Supply Chain and SCM. We also have Galanga, Manager Income, who is also our Deputy CFO. Mashoja, Manager Planning. What are these people? Thank you very much. And also all the members of LED&P Planning who make this occasion to be where we are now. Thanks very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maloba. The less the actors, the better it is for an institution when it comes to decision making. So I hope those two actors will not be acting in the future, but they will be appointed in the future. The next item on the agenda is to officially introduce the Honorable Mayor, and the person who is going to make that introduction of the first citizen is the Whip of Council, Councillor Rataha.
Thank you, Program Director, Dr. Nzo. I like the music. Initially, I felt like because today we're having investors, maybe we're going to play jazz. But unfortunately, we are playing another type of music. Program Director, allow me to also observe the protocol that was already acknowledged by you as the Program Director. Today, my work is very much simple. I'm here to present one of our own. I think all of us, we know the person that I'm going to present. He has joined this municipality in 2011 formally, but before he formally joined the municipality, he was part and parcel of this municipality in so many caps, including even the ward committees. Then formally he joined the municipality in 2011, and during his leadership, he managed to produce more than, 8 unqualified audits. That is why we are very much proud of him. I don't wanna forget the awards that we've received from this person that I'm going to introduce. We have received so many awards. Is it last week we have managed to receive more than 5 awards at Belgrade during this election. And then this person is one of our own. He's a former teacher, and we all love him because he's a father to us, he's a father to everyone. His worship, let us make sure that we all stand up and observe. Introduce one of our own, his worship councillor, Masilu Edward Bayan.
Director, Dr. Zo, let me thank you and appreciate the time that you have been on stage, giving us a very important introduction that I think is going to drive this conference until to the end. Let me take this opportunity and greet His Grace, the Right Reverend Dr. P.E. Lehanyane, his family, Horole Office, Masiuni Kamuka, greet all the pastors of different churches that are here and those that are not here. Greet our Madam Speaker, Baba Dile Mushumomu Tsikautramuba, acknowledge all the guests present in this hall. The Whip of Council who just introduced me here, members of Executive Committee of MolemoleLocal Municipality who are here, led by Councillor Klappa as the Chairperson of Finance, the Municipal Manager, Papa Mahatu, together with your team of senior managers and actors. I think Dr. Zoe will give them time to perform their activities of acting at the later stage. I don't know how you're going to start, my veto, because I doubt you can act the way in which Mr. Molopa has said it. Representatives from sister government departments, as acknowledged, I'm not going to go one by one. Esteemed guests from various organizations, as acknowledged, I'm not going to go one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the constitutional objects of the local government is to promote local economic development in our communities. Today we are here, and I think management and everyone else will agree with me that this conference is given birth by one of the decisions that we have taken in one of the strategic plannings, where the strategic planning was dismissed. Remember. We came here at the range just to strategize, but the challenge was that our strategies was based on the grants, MIG, all those grants. But that day, we agreed to dismiss the strategic planning because we said it's not strategic planning. A strategic planning must talk about other things outside the normal things that we talk about as we are gathered. So I'm very proud as the mayor that management took the decision very serious and they started moving with speed, the required speed, for us to be having a situation like this where we are seated to talk about investments and hoping that we are going to get investors in the municipality in order for the municipality to move faster, because without investment there is no way that we can move with speed. As Doctor was talking here, she spoke of the president having said a lot of things around the issue of economy. Amongst other things that the president has given us instructions, especially as councillors, as deployees, is that we must create jobs. And as the municipality, we can't be able to create jobs alone. We need to get to into partnership with investors so that they come to the municipality, invest, and through those investments,
obviously we are going to create jobs that will make our municipality to be economically active. It is through this promotion of local economic development that we are all able to redress past imbalance occasioned by the legacy of apartheid. As council of this municipality, we understand the constitutional imperative and feel obligated to ensure we pursue strategies that will indeed make us realize it. One of the things that I take pride in as the mayor of this council is that we went against the norm and the comfort and pursued a paradigm shift towards sustainable power. Through this paradigm shift, we have sought to temper and disrupt the normal way of doing things because we acknowledged that it was not enough to continue doing things the same way if we expect things to be different. Today's conference is but one of the outcomes of such paradigm shift, and it pleases me, ladies and gentlemen, that present here today is the Speaker of Council, Councillor Matu, the Whip of Council, Councillor Rata, as well as fellow executive committee members. The presence of this political leadership is a clear signal to everyone present here today that we work as one team with management to realize our dream of turning MolemoleLocal into hive of investment activity in the years ahead of us. We are always having this in mind that we must set a trend, we must lay the foundation, we must leave the legacy, because we are not going to be leaders of this municipality permanently. At one point we are going to go out of the positions that we are occupying, but it is important that we leave something behind so that we can be remembered about those things that we'll be leaving behind. I want to assure everyone present here today that you have got the full support of both political and management core of this municipality. Our presence here today, I hope, is a clear commitment that we are indeed open for business and you are most welcome to invest in our municipalities. I'm pleading with all investors present in here that please make it a point that when we live here, you leave something like investment in our municipality. I'm pleading. Or I think you will let us to investors come really to really invest something for municipality. You already investors come. You see, one problem now regular but for serious because on our the investors come as acknowledged by the speaker. Invest something because we really amongst other municipalities. Speaker never been a political municipalities or more grade 6. The municipality can formally be on grade 6 on the basis of their financial flow or the income flow or a child discipline and stuff like that. And we have shown that we are stable financially as the municipality. Obviously the CFO will come and talk to that. And we are stable politically. As you can see, we are all here. We have worked so hard to arrive at a situation where we are right now. And we are hoping that with all this stability, financial, political, financial, and administrative stability, it is a foundation through which investment can come and invest without any fear of losing their investment or their interest along the way. And Babo Chijamor, as the municipality, we have been able to get 9, if not 8, if 10. We have got 10 unqualified audit opinions, whereas other municipalities are struggling with qualified and all that. We have done so and failing to jump to the clean simply because of certain things. You know, I was telling my colleagues as seated there that audit is not a straightforward thing, you know, because they were saying, no, if we can address the issues that has been raised, obviously, next financial year will be on clean. I said, no, that's not how it works. Is the AG present here? I don't want to talk much about it. They have our audit finding, we spoke better about that. It's always shifting. You know, as you address these issues, I was talking to Masil CFO yesterday. Masil was saying to me, Mayor, don't worry about coordinates. We are done. I'm just going to clean them up. I said, Masil, they can arrive here and not talk about coordinates. They talk about something else. When you think you get things right, you may be surprised as they are coming to look for other things that maybe you don't even expect from them. So we expect to come out of this conference, like I'm saying, with strong and long-term partnership that will benefit both the business community and the community of Molemo. As I was greeting, I was going to for granted to worry, but when we took a camera, I had several Spain, but I trying to issue my straight to Maoshi. Can you mistake more? Speaker of Itrux about Washington, Kikulor Bahoshira Zagawa Namu, really acknowledge the presence early. Bahoshira, I may overcome Shatuaram for Pavaona, the Wahalina. By a may become Shatuam Manchaka, Makawana, the Wahalina. Shatuama Hato, Baona Kavavon, the Wahanamu. Mshatwa Mantata, Galwana, Liwe, Wagale Namu, the pot farms, in our chairperson of Garabato, Realwa, Obama, Evalon, Reluxeva Mafelelo, Mshatwa Lishu, Mshatwa Village, Hosha, Ram, Revalanamu, Reloa, Wagale. Magosia, the Chilagana, she said, Hobalina. Early region, as I got disappointed, you are always here. And we are not taking that for granted. The investor said you are not let them malmawish, but it's about Iran and Sapara. Marerga or Mawish upset, Mawish upset, they cannot celebrate around. Revewa, Swakase, little feeling sona, or the television. Idara, what are the show of Hoshi? A good go set the Matalusha, Hierarchy, Kamshato, Amlo, Babalagabas, and other. Let's go to another king. Kamshat, Unalina Lola School, Maralot, the Zonagina Lahos. Sahale, Karabi, yes, Karabi. You go to the level of competitions at Wilore, not well, Karabi, Tragina Lahos, Maosia Marao. Our program director. Thanks very much. Feel welcome.
Because I come from the Eastern Cape, we say, Thank you so much, Mayor. Before we proceed to the next item, we will get a video that is going to be played for us. Just a couple of seconds so that it could be demonstrated to us visually exactly what we are here for. So I'll just give to the audio-visual guys to play that video. Thanks.
MolemoleLocal Municipality is sited within the Capricorn District Municipality in the Limpopo Province. It is about 64 kilometers north of Polokwane along the R521. The municipality is bordered by Polokwane Municipality, Blouberg Municipality, and Makhado Municipality. The municipality's head office is in Mwadi and has two branches, one in Paudi Village and the other one in Morebeng Town. The municipality has 16 wards and covers an area of 3,347 square kilometers with a total population of 125,153. Local economy expansion is focused on utilizing underutilized land in communal areas and land reform projects for commercial production. The initiative aims to improve livelihoods, create jobs, and grow the local economy. To achieve this, the municipality has identified key areas for development including agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing sector to create jobs and stimulate economic growth.
The municipality is very stable politically. The stability has been brought about by the manner in which we are interacting with other political parties. In the strategic planning, all parties represented in council are part of the strategic planning where we plan together. And that has made it easy for us to implement whatever projects or whatever things that we agree upon.
MolemoleLocal Municipality is a rural municipality, and as rural as it is, it means that in order for us to implement most of our projects, we're highly dependent on grants. And when it comes to revenue collection, we don't have much sources of revenue.
Most of the time as the municipality, we were concentrating on the budget of the municipality when we were thinking about how to develop the municipality. But now, the current situation is that we have gone out of the box and checked what is it that we can do.
So far, the council has taken a resolution to establish what we call an investment committee. The mandate of this committee is to go all out, knock in all the doors, both within the province and outside the province, with an intention to forge partnership.
We are inviting public-private partnerships to come and partner with us so that we can improve the situation.
As a way of growing and developing the municipality, we've started on firstly growing the settlements. We're starting with the town of Mowadi, where we are going to be establishing 3 townships.
We also have the proposed land accommodation project, which will be done in partnership with Capricorn Tibet College, Aramukupa campus. We also have proposed establishment of malls in both Marebeng and Dendron, which is Mowadi, Marebeng, and Moleji, Apaudi.
Every project that we bring into a municipality, let it be revenue driven. As we are servicing the people, but at the same time, let that project be able to plow back to the revenue of the municipality. As MolemoleLocal Municipality, we respect financial governance. So we set a tone from the top of good governance.
The municipality has consistently for the past 5-7 years been getting an qualified audit opinion with reduced findings. And as such, safe to say, so far in the previous audit outcome, audit report, the municipality has done very well, and we managed to have no issues on issues of supply chain, 0% irregular expenditure.
In the past years, we managed to electrify 2,000 households. In this financial year, we electrifying 1,090 households. We have managed to construct 20 plus kilometers internal streets and 5 culvert bridges. We have managed to also install 15 high-mast lights in our villages.
We are also presently purchasing the so-called traffic management system. This is a system that will link our traffic station with the vehicles that we'll be purchasing so that we can optimize our level of collection in as far as traffic infringement is concerned. We are also intending to change or increase the revenue collection at Mugwadi traffic station by bringing again the so-called vehicle testing unit, whereby we will also be testing the vehicles before they are registered within our traffic station.
We are providing skills and development to 20 farmers and mentoring them as well. We have 2 SMMEs that we are supporting at the moment for this financial year.
The recent investments that we have made, it has given us return on investments of about 8.5% annually. Also, our cash flow is positive. Over the past 5 years, we've been sitting on a positive cash flow. We do not have any overdraft. In the last audit that we are coming from for the financial year 23-24, we did not incur any irregular expenditure.
MolemoleLocal Municipality Investment Drive, unlocking economic value and prioritizing innovative investment in our communities.
Thank you very much for that very impressive oversight or insight into the municipality. I was saying to the MM earlier, I would definitely love to invite you guys to my podcast because you absolutely provide a positive case study that I think the whole of this country deserves to understand exactly how you get to perform so well as a predominantly rural municipality. Very impressive. So MM, let me give you an opportunity to provide us an overview based on the video that has been placed. Thanks. Thanks,
Thanks very much, Dr. Nzo, our Program Director, Honorable Mayor, Councillor Paya, our Speaker of Council, Whip of Council, members of the Executive Committee, my fellow colleagues from MolemoleLocal Municipality, all important stakeholders that are here today, representatives from various organizations and institutions, Maboshi Arena, the Sechabakamuka se Batuabanamukamuka, the LED manager and his team, Mama Hatani, and all the officials, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I wish to express my gratitude to the council of this municipality for having embraced our paradigm shift towards our pursuit of sustainable path of focusing on improving local economic development within our municipality. I think that is a good decision that has ever been taken by this council. So far, we have been doing things in a traditional way and only focusing on using subsidies or grants, like the Honorable Mayor has said, and transfers from the national government, as well as the revenue that we've been generating from within, to reinvent the wheel of only focusing on expenditure sides of operation. To say the money will come and it will get spent, and that would be the end of the business. So we are saying, let's graduate. Let's graduate as the municipality and do things differently. This was obviously not sustainable because you can exist just to spend and never consider ways of getting more resources to repair and maintain the infrastructure after construction. Something had to be done, and hence we appreciate our council for having established the Municipal Investment Committee, whose main objective is to set the municipality on the path towards sustainable alternative revenue sources through investment in local economy. We have embarked on a journey to pursue the less comfortable route of public-private partnership. We have already had some engagement with the National Treasury. There is a unit called GTEC, in Government Technical Advisory Committee. This is in recognition that public and private sector need to stop operating in isolation. We need to form partnerships with each other while they have got a responsibility to work together towards a common objective of sustainable existence. We need each other in order to survive, both as government and as the private sector or business sector. None can survive without the other. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to report that today's conference is one of its kind, far different from the usual ones we used to coordinate in the previous years. We are having 5 panels focusing on the following areas. Very soon we'll be having the commissions to go and pick up discussions and engagements around some of the pertinent topics or issues that we think we need solutions or resolutions around those panels. The first one will be a panel that will be looking at an overview of the municipal spatial planning and development, followed by the agriculture and agro-processing, issues of master plans and investment opportunities that we can derive from such. The third one will be tourism and nature conservation opportunities in Molemole jurisdiction and so on. And I'm happy that I've seen colleagues from Limpopo Tourism Agency, and I think this will get a proper expression. The fourth one is unlocking potential mineral value within Molemole, and then the last one will be an investment in skills, issues of youth skills development and support. For our partners, members of the Municipal Investment Committee, we remain focused to the big task ahead of ensuring our revenue enhancement strategies are realized to its full potential. We are well aware that the parties present here, all stakeholders that are present here, will indeed use this panel discussion as a window shopping for a myriad of long-term business opportunities that Molemole Municipality has to offer. In other words, there's no one who is going to be a spectator during this conference. We need your ideas, we need your wisdom, we need your strength, both financial and otherwise, and we also need your commitment, like the Honorable Mayor has indicated. We are grateful for Provincial Treasury, Cogstar, the DED, for supporting us on this journey towards long-term financial and economic sustainability of MolemoleLocal Municipality. We are hopeful this conference will serve as a seat that will bring to the fore long-term investment opportunities for small, medium, and micro enterprises, notably these owned by the youth and women from our communities. We will later on go to the commissions, like I've indicated, to further encourage dialogue among key stakeholders represented here today. And I wish to urge everyone for active and constructive participation throughout the conference, so that we can come out of this conference feeling enriched with a wealth of business opportunities for the municipality. People should not be afraid to make commitments, because government cannot run alone. We need partnership, like we have said. We need to be in this game together. It's our responsibility as collective, both business and government, to create jobs for our people. It's our responsibility as government and business to ensure that we eradicate poverty. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much. Let's go and engage robustly in our commissions at the right time. But the purpose here, the important issue here is to make sure that CFO out of this conference, we are, the municipalities richer in the sense that we can be able to tackle all the challenges that our communities are experiencing. Because we are the hope of our society. We are the hope of the people that we serve. People, when they look at USMM, they just say, we'll have solutions of our challenges. They don't want to know whether you are finding it difficult or not. They know that you must provide solutions for society. So we have called this conference to come together and brainstorm all those solutions that are expected by our communities to better their livelihood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen, for that overview. I think it would definitely be good that you have invited the CFO, Ms. Zulu, to also give us a little bit of an insight in terms of the financial stability, even though we now have a better understanding of the institutional capabilities that have brought you towards stabilizing your finances while other municipalities are struggling. So CFO, the platform is yours. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Dr. Zoe. I don't know whether we are serious because it's a professional event, but as I was sitting there, I felt so heavy. I'm like, ish, yeah, where do we start? But with God, all is well. Honorable Mayor, Madam Speaker, the Whip of Council, Mahosha Arena, that are here with us today, our stakeholders, I greet you all in the name of Jesus. Allow me, Program Director, to say all protocol observed. I have requested that my presentation be shown here on the screen so that it can make my life easier. Are we winning? Thank you. I think you can already move to that slide. Okay. Thank you very much. Today is the day that we have been waiting for. A very exciting day. As the mayor has already mentioned earlier, to say we had to change the way we think in order for us to be able to achieve the service delivery that we want to achieve for our people. It's all about NARE. When we say NARE, we refer to that child that is there in the community. So we can sit like this in the boardroom, but we need to always remind ourselves to say, why are we here? So it is for that reason that today we are gathered here, because this vision was born to say we need to come together and work together with the public-private partnership and establish those types of relationships so that we are able to deliver all the expectations. Yes, we acknowledge it is not possible to deliver all the needs that the community want, but at least if we can make an impact, an impact that will change the lives of the people. So when it comes to MolemoleLocal Municipality, in terms of our finances, as you already have seen in the video that we have played, we have sort of tried to paint a picture. Can move to the next slide. So the presentation is going to cover just the financial performance as well as the financial governance, of which already most of the things has already been covered. Next slide, please. So, what is the problem that we are trying to resolve? The problem that we are trying to resolve is this picture. I will try and summarize it. I can see there's a lot of numbers and all that. So what does this picture mean? This picture tells us that MolemoleLocal, you see in the pie, the majority of the pie is covered green. And that green tells us that the transfers and subsidies, that's where our revenue comes from. This is just a reflection of a mid-year assessment for the 24-25 financial year that we are in. So it is for that reason that we said it cannot be correct for us to remain in that picture. If there can be significant changes in the government or regulations, it means that MolemoleLocal will not be able to sustain itself with their current sources of revenue that they have. Because our total reliance is on an equitable share that we get from the government, also other different grants that we get. So hence we have then decided to say we need to change this picture. So as you can see, 72% of our money comes from equitable share and other different grants. And then these are other sources that we have. Your normal sources that we have will be things like your property rates. We have 2 towns where we collect property rates that are currently established. And then also we sell electricity. We also do your refuse removal, your waste management. So those are the current existing sources that we have. So also, you've seen on the video, Mr. Mulupa mentioned that we have started also to improve that leg there for the fines, penalties and forfeits, license and permits as well. Because why? We want to make sure that we improve the position that we are in. So that is why we are here to say, okay, with what we have, we want to partner so that we are able to expand and change things around in that picture. Given that picture, you can move to the next. Even though the picture is like this, with the little that we have, we are able to respect it. So you will see here, we have done our revenue collection rate over the years. So, for the past 10 years, so I would like to focus from 2021. So what we have done there, we have started to implement a credit control to make sure that even though what we are getting is not as much, but at least let us make sure that we implement all the correct processes to make sure that we collect the maximum out of that. So as you can see, we have started improving in 2021, coming from about 21%, we moved up to 107, 85, 93, and 59. The reason for the drop in 23-24 is because currently Public Works is currently on hold with some of the properties. But currently there are discussions that they are finalizing their registration. Soon that position will be improved. Can move to the next slide. So, as you can see, this obviously shows over the 10 years the picture in terms of the revenue collection. So, the challenge with this is that even if we were to collect 100% for argument's sake, because we only have 2 townships where we bill the property rates, where we charge refuse removal, it will still not be enough because we only have a limited number of
households. We have about 1,400 households from the 2 townships. So hence, we have seen from our spatial, we have mentioned that we have applied for new townships to be established. And these processes are already at an advanced stage. Why? So that we can increase our population, we can increase the number of households that we have. Then these sources, by default, they will then increase. So I think here it's already things that I've already mentioned to say there's limited number of sources. But what we have done, we can move to the next slide. What we have done also as the institution, we have adopted, council has adopted a revenue enhancement strategy. In this strategy, there are key areas that each department needs to bring a project that is revenue driven so that we can change the situation. I've just mentioned the issue of expansion in terms of the townships. So already, when you have a new township, what is going to happen? Rates will be collected. And also, it's a mixed development. So schools will come, different types of areas will be there. So we'll be providing services in those areas. So therefore, it means our revenue will increase. Also, you've heard my colleague from Technical Services mentioning the issue of electrifying. We've got a very intense program of electrifying villages where we have made a difference into the lives of the people. Also, where we are electrifying, most areas is the jurisdiction of ESCOM. So what are we doing there? We have applied for licenses so that those areas, they become under us, so that we are able to sell electricity in those areas as well. But also recently, was in the engagement with the Minister of Electricity, where they are also coming with some of the alternatives as far as electricity is concerned. So those are the types of things that we are doing. We have repurposed some of our buildings for the purpose of making sure that we convert them into student accommodation, those buildings that are no longer in use. So those are the type of programs that we are bringing in. So I may not cover all of it. Also, the credit control. As we speak, if you are coming from one of our 2 towns, if you are not paying, you surely know that you are disconnected. If not yet, it is coming. So credit control that we have implemented is very intense as well, trying to make sure that we collect each and every cent. Why? Because we want to change the lives of the people. When we go to public participation, community have many requests. They want a road, they want different things. So in order for us to be able to do these things, we need to make sure that we strengthen this area. Also, today, there are relationships that we already started establishing as far as Triple-P is concerned. So it's for this purpose to make sure that these relationships, they understand the type of the institution that we are and what vision do we have for our communities. Coming to investments as well, with the monies that we get as well, we don't keep everything into our bank account and look at it. We try and make sure that we invest as much as we can. So we do safe investments, we invest in line with the MFMA requirements. We are one of the municipalities that was not found in the scandal. I don't want to mention the name. But we are one of the municipalities that was very strict to say, but the requirements of the legislation does not allow you to invest in such. So hence we are able to invest. And if Nedbank is here as well, we're working very well with them. They are our banker. We always fight when it comes to beating the interest from other banks. But they have been working very well with us. That is why we are able to raise such in terms of interest. What does this interest do then? It goes back again to the past to say now when we are budgeting, we are planning for a new financial year. It's also a source of revenue on its own. So one of the key things is to say, when you're about to invest, you have to make sure that the money that you're putting in, there's a guarantee that you're going to get it back. And with the relationship that we have, definitely, but also making sure that we always follow the legislation. And then, next slide. When it comes to cash flow as well, with the little that we have, we are able as well to manage our cash flow. Because sometimes I always try to explain, to say, having a budget doesn't mean that you have money. You can budget, but you still need to go and get the money. But as you budget, make sure that your key costs, your running costs, you are able to cover them at least 6 times, so that you know that you will be able to manage your cash flow. So even for us, even during COVID, MolemoleLocal didn't struggle with cash flow. Some municipalities, they had to take some of the grants that were directed to service delivery for the use of cash flow. But we have been able to focus on this and make sure that our purse never runs dry. So we are very strict on our cost saving with the implementation of cost containment that is in place to make sure that things that we spend on are things that make sense, that has a business sense as well. So as you already see, as at mid-year, we were sitting at about 192 in terms of cash. And also we do not, at this stage, have taken any loans, we don't have credits. So that's one of the things as well that makes our liquidity to be very strong. Next. When it comes to current ratio, what is current ratio? Current ratio tells us to say, for example, I've given there a norm. A norm is 1.5 to 2 is to 1. So what does that mean? It means for every 1 rand that you owe, at least you must have 1 rand 50 or 2 rand. So in our case, as you can see, over the past 3 years, we just took the past 3 years, MolemoleLocal has been sitting above the norm and even managed to double it. It comes from that managing our cash flow very well, so that we are able to know when to use, when not to use, so that we are not found wanting when now it's time to pay our creditors. So as you can see, the position is very stable over the years. So meaning that as we stand, there are no commitments that standing here that I will say we have committed and we are unable to pay. So these are the types of controls that we look at. So, next slide. So therefore, this means that MolemoleLocal is a going concern. Going concern says MolemoleLocal can continue to operate in the next 12 months. And already, you can see this financial year is coming to an end. We are operating with no fear. Also, we are sitting on the positive net asset position. So our net assets are positive. We are operating in a positive cash flow. And we believe that this position will continue. Sustainability in the next 5 years, I cannot confirm. And reason for that is because of that first picture that I showed you. Because the sustainability then looks at the next 5 years going further. So that is why then we said, let us not fold our arms. Let us stand up and then improve this position and partner in different ways. For example, if a developer comes, we have land. So we enter into a deal, we then rent out the land, and it's an exchange. So that is how we have pictured this relationship, but it's not limited to what we say. As investors, you might come up with things that you say, here, we think we can tap on this space. How can we, change this and become a revenue generation, but at the same time, both
parties. So the main thing for us is to bring the population, economic spin-offs, change the lives of the people. That is our mission. So if we can achieve that, then I believe that even the South Africa at large can improve in many areas. Last slide is about the financial governance. I think this one already, it has been mentioned many a times. You can go to the next slide. Yes, audit opinion, I can see the way we've been getting unqualified, everyone has lost count to say how many. Yeah, so indeed, it's not an easy process, but it's something that we pride ourselves in, to say, you know what, we have been achieving this audit opinion. Even when you go inside the report, you can see that these people are really working hard. And maybe something to also mention, on our APR, we got a clean audit. We got a clean audit. What APR tells, it tells a story about your service delivery. To say, the plans that you had, did you achieve them, and are they verifiable? Of which, that's what the process that we have undergone. So definitely, when you partner with us, I don't think you should be scared to say, ish, you know, partnering, and it also doesn't mean that it's only money, it's in different ways of partnering. As long as we are able to account to each other to say, okay, this is what we have done. Also, our culture, when you look into our grants, we don't really have, we don't return money back. We make sure that the money, if it was meant to do a road, that money must make sure that it delivers the service and of a quality. Also, when you look into our budget is just over 400 million, of which obviously we do aspire to have at least 1 billion as a start, so that we can touch more people. And over the years, we have been adopting a credible and a funded budget. Some municipalities, they are struggling to achieve such. And in our municipality, we've never had a situation where we had to face National Treasury to do a recovery plan. We don't even know how it looks like. So, yeah, so these are the things that we pride ourselves in, to say you can't put a budget that you don't know how you're going to fund. And all of these things comes from things that I've mentioned from the top, to say start planning very well, make sure what you plan you can achieve, and do it very well. Also, on the compliance issues, we do not have any significant non-compliance. I think MM already mentioned the issue of the UIF and W. We are having a zero tolerance of fruitless, of all these irregular expenditures. So we'll never find such situation. If it happens, really, it is an error, you know, when it happens. But we do not really believe in such. So we try, as small as we are, we try. So we see ourselves as the future city of Molemole. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, CFO, for stressing the most critical aspect in local government in terms of revenue raising and being grant dependent. It's a topical issue, and most probably that's why COGTA is now reviewing its white paper on local government, because we can see that financial viability and sustainability is quite problematic in our country when it comes to the assumptions that we made post-1994. So, I'm not sure whether age is catching up with you, but I just heard that there was a presentation that you were supposed to make, and unfortunately, you forgot that presentation. I am not sure. So I guess I will just have to call you up to the stage again to deliver that presentation.
Thanks very much, Program Director. No, I still look young and I'm still young. There were two presentations. I didn't want to present them at a go because I wanted to assimilate the first presentation. The presentation is very short. It's about just reflecting on the video that has been presented. Because if you look at that video, there are common denominators. Those who have done mathematics will understand. And the common denominators there are issues of economic development. There are issues of revenue generation. And all that can be realized through the partnership between the municipality and you as investors or business. And that has influenced the crafting of the theme of the conference, unlocking economic value and prioritizing innovative investment in our communities. And if you look at all the participants in the video, both the mayor, the municipal manager, and everybody have been talking from the heart. In one way or the other, it's a plea to the investors to say, let's work together. And on issues of local economic development, we have our strategic objectives, and in the main is to unlock economic potential. How do we do that? By creating a conducive environment for investment to facilitate economic growth and sustainability. I think that has been the main issue. But it's important to declare in this conference, Orna Esmolemole, Dilotie Mijoan. MolemoleLocal Municipality is the smallest municipality within CDM. That the CFO have mentioned that. It is predominantly rural in nature, that we know, with spatially scattered settlements comprising of Port Lane townships, that is and Mowadi, as the LED manager has said. And then the municipality is characterized by different types of landowners, with the vast part of it privately owned within the custodianship of the traditional authority, while the smallest part is within the custodianship of the municipality. Majority, the better part of our land is owned by the traditional councils, that we know. And I think when, in the introduction, when traditional councils were introduced, you could hear that we've got about 5, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 of them. And we regard them as our traditional council, but at the same time, they are the key role player in the investment space. Because the traditional councils, they lead the communities that we serve as a municipality. So in other words, it's not their responsibility alone to bring services to those communities. It's also the responsibility of us as a municipality or us as government So which then says there should be a good relationship between the traditional councils and the municipality. And I'm excited because as a municipality, what we have started doing, CFO, you would recall, is to say the land that belongs to the municipality, the land that belongs to our traditional council, we take it as our land because traditional council is part of the municipality. So we are saying that is why we have started a process of signing MOUs with our traditional councils to say, let's mobilize investment together. Again, in the olden days, you will find investors coming to a municipality, identified a particular land. You find that that land belonged to the king or to the chief. Goes to the chief will say, no, Kinyaka saw. Then the investor run away. So it's our responsibility as municipality to play an advisory role to our traditional council in terms of how we forge, how do we attract investment within our space. And I'm excited that we've already signed an MOU with MolemoleLocal to say that area where the new police station has been established at Raptown, the whole area is going to be a business area, an investment area. And that land belongs to the MolemoleLocal. He has even pronounced this during the official opening, Honorable Speaker, to say, I've got partnership with MolemoleLocal Municipality. Because we went to Hosh and said, Hosh, it doesn't help. You've got more than 120 villages. You don't even have one investment project. How are we going to solve the problems of this society? So we are here as MolemoleLocal. Let's partner. Let's advise. 100 hectares and that person disappear or dwell in poverty. So if there is any investment coming into our space, we are the role players as a municipality. We bring Hoshi if that land belongs to Hoshi. We pick up a discussion. We advise to say, here, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Because some of this investment, this partnership, there's no investment that can happen. Investor come and say, you say I need so much, give you that money. It will never happen. You can't give a person benefits while you have not even benefited once as an investor. So those are the things that have delayed us in terms of forging partnership. So we are saying, let's sit down, let's unpack the model that we are going to apply in that particular investment, so that at the end of the day, all role players must benefit. Not only role players, but also the people that we serve, which is very critical. The other issue on here is that business people need stability, CFO. The mayor in that video indicated that we have got a good political stability in MolemoleLocal. I'm 7 years old in that municipality. There was never a council meeting that was disrupted. For the past 7 years, no council meeting was disrupted. That's a demonstration that there is political stability in that municipality. Councillors come from different political parties, but they don't use council or chamber as a battling field. They go there to brainstorm ideas that will take the municipality to the next level. And that should give investors confidence to say, if I put my investment there, the council will not collapse. And the other issue here is the issue of the population growth. Small municipality as we are, we have got a total population of 127, I'm sure it was reflected earlier on, 127,130, with 41,999 households. That was mentioned. And in terms of the 2022 census, the population growth rate was 0.05. So you can see, we have got a slow population growth. So it's the responsibility of us as management, it's the responsibility of council, it's the responsibility of all the stakeholders to come up with ways and means to attract increasing population. How do you attract increasing population? Chief people say men are not active. No, not necessarily that. You need to bring infrastructure or the establishment that will attract people to come to your space and invest in your space. You need to bring about projects that are so attractive in our space that will bring people from far to come and say, we want to reside here. That is why the senior manager LED has been saying we've got a new township establishment that is coming, and it comes as combo. It comes with other projects. If you build a settlement there must be a school. Already we've got beautiful, well-performing schools in the form of Denron Secondary School, and I've seen that here. We acknowledge you are present in that. So, if you bring that population, people will want to invest and live where there is proper infrastructure. If you attract that population, therefore, you will be forced to have a reliable private or public hospital closer to where these people are living. How do you do that? You do that through partnership with you as business. Land is available, both owned by traditional council or municipality. We give you a space there. You will come up with, be it a private health center, it's fine. We'll do that. And where there is population, because the people living around that space become economic actors. And because we'll be having sufficient economic actors, then it means the economy in that area get improved. But how to improve the economy? So we are saying, let's get into partnership and ensure that population is attracted, we bring proper infrastructure, and then so that we can be able to improve the economy. And if the economy is improved, together we will be able to deal with other more challenges. I got to create and for our own people, the people that we serve. But if we continue to work in silos, I'll be here as a municipality, business is there, and then other stakeholders are there, everybody's complaining. And it's complaining about one person called government. Government is not creating jobs for our graduates. Government alone, like the president has said, will never ever be able to solve the challenges that we have. So what the CFO has been presenting from the financial perspective is to give you confidence that you partner with us, our relationship will never collapse. Because we have done it before, and we can do it with you. So we have what we call the issue of land. We have spoken about it, or we have got enough land as the municipality. We can give you the details later. And then our traditional council have got enough land. We have got access to that particular land through our partnership with those traditional councils. We have said about that. And we then request, as an investment request, to forge that partnership with you through the public-private partnership. We want to grow and develop the municipality. And the only way to grow it, you need money to do that. And money gets generated through that partnership that we've spoken about. We want to undertake business retention, attraction, and expansion. We want to promote SMMEs within our area, within our jurisdiction, because we believe that the more our small businesses grows, the more they will be able to feed their family, the more they will be able to create jobs for our people, the more they will be able to improve the local economy, and the more the municipality will be sustainable. We want to promote tourism and hospitality. And we want to promote agricultural skills development and mentorship. And there are good stories to tell around that aspect. So in conclusion, we are saying as MolemoleLocal Municipality, we want to take advantage of this declaration by us as government to ensure that our people benefit optimally from rural development efforts. Because issues of skills development, Mashuja, issues of supporting and mentoring SMMEs, both in agriculture and otherwise, is part of rural development efforts. The municipality is driven by the desire to make the municipal area attractive places to live in, invest in, and visit. And a good example is the first slide of that video. If you look at that, many municipalities, that one you will think is in Sandton, but it's in rural place of Mowadi. And we've got a dedicated person who look after our environment, and Dr. Molopa. Thank you very much, Dr. Molopa. Let's keep that up. So, in order to achieve all this, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying, let's engage. We are open enough as a municipality. This is where we are. We are handing our own self to you to say, where you see an opportunity as an investor, talk to us. And this is the right time to talk to us. Other processes, we'll talk about them later. But this is us. This is where we are. We have tried to explain ourselves. We are not hiding anything. Where we are not doing good, approach us, guide us to say, if you were to close this gap, I was going to put something on the table. We'll do exactly that. So, thanks very much. That is Mole. That is where we are. The chance now is yours to approach us. And let's talk, let's engage. Thanks very much.
Thank you, MM, for driving that point home. Yes, although we are behind with time concerning our program, but it's important for us to just take a 10-minute stretch, just a 10-minute break stretch. It's now 12 o'clock, so let's be back here by 10 past 12 so that we can go into our panel discussions in the next part of our program. And at least we can allow an hour for that. So at least, most probably, we just need to take 45 minutes into lunch. So let's do that quickly and just take a break. I think there are also exhibitions that we can also see outside as we wander around. Thank you. We are running behind time. So there are some changes that we have made in the program because we want to make sure that everybody participates in the last session. It's a very critical session. We want all of our panelists to be able to take us through some of the things that they are doing that could contribute towards the soliciting of economic investments in the municipality. So the changes that have been made is that we have pushed lunchtime, hence we thought let's just give you extra minutes to walk around, have coffee, nibble a little bit. So we are no longer going to have commissions, because if we're going to have commissions, we'll end up leaving here around 7 to 8 o'clock at night with only just 5 participants, because people do have commitments. So we are only going to have our panel discussions, this session that is going to follow, and we will have panel 1, panel 2, and panel 3. Panel 1 is on municipal spatial planning and development. Panel 2 will be on agriculture and agro-processing, master plans and investments. Panel 3 will be unlocking potential mineral values, which will offer us an opportunity to break for lunch. So we have pushed lunch to 2 o'clock to accommodate those 3 panels for the 30 minutes that they have. And then after lunch, we will now complete with 2 panels. There's been a slight shift in the sense that the investments and skills development support will be panel 4, and then panel 5 will be tourism and nature conservation opportunities in MolemoleLocal. That will push us towards the afternoon before we come back and try to capture the essence of these discussions. So I would like to call up panel 1, which is on spatial planning. Meroe Group, you are going to lead us in that panel, and I'm only going to allocate you 10 minutes. We are operating on efficiencies. Everybody's talking about efficiencies these days. So we will give you 10 minutes, and I'm sure there are other panel members who are supposed to join you. If you have been briefed, we'd like them to come up. Please come up, gentlemen. And I say 10 minutes because we're no longer having commissions, but we'd definitely love to have inputs. Inputs are very important. It can't be one-track-minded discussions. We are not here to make our participants passive activists in this platform. They must be more proactive in making contributions. So let me give you that 10 minutes to lead us through the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, my name is Kateko Shibalana. I'm a director with Meroe Group, planning consultancy. We do quite a bit of work with various organizations, from local government to international development finance institutions like the World Bank, SECO, the Swiss Economic Corporation, and we were asked today to actually lead the discussion around spatial planning. There was a presentation, I'm not sure if we are able to flight it. I don't know who's controlling the screens here. Okay, thank you for that. So, colleagues, I think in the interest of time, I'm going to really sort of run through the entire presentation. It's not a lot of slides, it's about 8 of them, but the intention is really to sort of just emphasize why spatial planning matters. When looking at where we are today, it's a significant day, you know, an indication by the senior management and leadership of MolemoleLocal Municipality, you know, that they are sort of very serious about sustainable development and growth. And when you're looking at sustainable development and growth and economic growth, at its core is really spatial planning. Spatial planning deals with, you know, ensuring that land uses or the use of land is aligned with investment priorities, meaning, you know, you need to decide as a municipality where do you locate and support agriculture, tourism, and different sectors that you want or you see as the drivers of growth. In addition, spatial planning supports rural development and tries to figure out, you know, where especially we need to find opportunities to ensure that, you know, the needs of communities are met. And I think, you know, the last bit is that in terms of spatial planning, it unlocks economic value by removing barriers. What I mean by this is that a lot of the barriers to investment is usually, you know, things like accessibility to specific spaces, the availability of infrastructure to ensure that, you know, those particular economic sectors or, for lack of a better phrase, you know, those priorities that I mentioned earlier, like agriculture, tourism, mining, have the necessary infrastructure to sort of continue growing. In terms of the next slide, which I think is sort of the foundation of what I want to talk to, if you can just skip to the next slide. It's very difficult to run a presentation when you are not controlling it, but okay, I don't think that. Okay, let me ask my fellow panelists to move. So essentially at the heart of spatial planning or spatial development planning is, you know, the confluence or, you know, the coming together of people and land. Everything that we sort of do, especially when it comes to development, happens on land. So from a people perspective, you need to house people. You need to put them in a place which they identify with. You need to ensure that you protect the natural assets that are around there. You need to ensure that there's infrastructure that serves those people. You need to create a structure that is easily relatable by, you know, either the local people or alternatively the people or investors who come in and want to invest in that space. You need to ensure that, you know, that relationship between the people and the land talks to real estate market. The CFO earlier on was talking about how the two towns are sort of where they collect rates and taxes. You know, that is sort of the real estate market. You need to sort of link that to a land use management system of sorts. You need to sort of see how to support you need to see how to support an economy around that. You need to sort of make sure that, you know, this relationship between people and the land is made clear. I'm sure when they get to the next slide, so the next one after this one, you know, so at the heart of spatial planning is sort of the idea that in intervening or in acting within space, you need to be clear on what it is that you want to prioritize, because we do have limited resources. So the way in which the spatial planning framework in the country is structured is that we have a national spatial development framework that then looks at the entire country. And that talks to sort of how we see the entire country and how we ought to see MoleMole in terms of how we interpret it. What I mean by this is that if you look at South Africa against another, say, developing country, you can say that, South Africa has a lot of cities, etc., etc., etc. And that structure of identifying where the movement corridors are, where the nodes are, where activity are concentrated, translates into sort of that very same structure at a municipal level, where MoleMole also has, for lack of a better phrase, developed urban areas like, what CF was talking about when, she said, there's these 2 established towns. So those are sort of the nodes that then sort of create, that those pairs on a sort of connectivity or movement string that ultimately direct us to say those are our natural priorities and those are the specific points that we need to ensure that we link, right? There has been some work that's done in MoleMole that talks to sort of how, there's a lack of east-west access. So if you look at MoleMole, there's these 2 roads that sort of run north-south, but then east-west, it's sort of very constricted and you sort of don't know, or there isn't sort of that opportunity to link those sort of 2 sides of the municipality. So it is important to have in mind that at the heart of spatial planning, at the heart of interpreting what is happening at a national level and what's accepted at a national level, how do you then translate that to what all of this sort of translates it to is not that we like drawing lines and that's the end of it, like drawing pretty pictures and that's the end of it. But it is saying that, where do we direct investment? Where does infrastructure go so that we can have the most impact in terms of people's lives and where it can have the most impact in terms of sort of economic growth prospects, right? But more importantly, it's an acknowledgement that, there are other trends that are happening globally in terms of rural municipalities that can be placed in space within MoleMole. For instance, there's trends around, digital connectivity, making sure that you enable, e-commerce. Where do you put that type of investment? It is in those nodes. Sustainable agriculture, agro-processing, etc. Where are your sort of spaces which have sort of the most agricultural activity, and where do you put infrastructure to ensure that you support not only the zoning rights to ensure that agro-processing happens in those spaces, but the infrastructure as well. There's renewable energy. When you look at the spatial structure of the municipality, where do you have sites that are ideal for example, solar projects, which sort of are gaining momentum and favor right now in terms of various funders and donors, and I'm sure someone is going to talk to that later, but where do you then put that? If you don't know where to put it, and you don't have a spatial plan to say, this is where these things need to be located, there's no way in which a funder will come and confidently say, oh, we're going to support you in ensuring that these things are implemented. Ecotourism, conservation zones to boost tourism revenue,
You know, I think you, MolemoleLocal, looking at the various policy documents in here, sort of you've identified those spaces and, you know, those spaces are clear. But I think the other item that I wanted to sort of emphasize in terms of the slide is rural municipalities, and we need to be innovative around thinking around sort of how, you know, economies work. So for instance, if you think about BPO, you know, like call centers, for example, right? Call centers were very popular in India. I think everyone who's seen a movie knows that, you know, there's a lot of call centers in India. South Africa, as South Africans, and as you can see as I'm speaking, I'm very clear in terms of how I'm speaking. And so is most South Africans, and I'm sure you agree in terms of a lot of speakers who are here. We are clear and anyone around the world can hear us. Are we innovative enough, or are we forward-looking enough to say, actually, a call center can locate anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Pretoria. In Pretoria, the likelihood of it locating in Pretoria is that it is going to be expensive because the labor is going to be expensive there. In Cape Town, it's expensive. But then in MolemoleLocal, if we have the right type of infrastructure in place and we sort of think about how to structure our spaces and invest in our spaces, we can make a case to say, you can locate it here because, you know, you've got cheaper labor costs, you've got cheaper land costs, and you've got you definitely have, you know, reliable infrastructure because, you know, even if there's load shedding, we've got a solar field and whatnot located here. You know, so the way in which we need to think about trends is not just to say, you know, let's boggle ourselves down to, you know, we're a rural municipality and the only thing we can do is agriculture, but, you know, to sort of stretch our imagination a little bit to think about sort of other fields as well. Next slide. I need to rush now so that I can get my colleagues to come in. I've already spoken about, you know, these hubs, you know, these nodes, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can go to the next slide. So what I really want to say today is that it is important, especially from an economic growth and development perspective, to think spatially, to prioritize spaces and say this is the spaces where we want to ensure we invest in first so that we are able to ensure growth. We need to be able to say, when an investor comes, collaborate with us, let us see, you know, how we sort of both come together in these spaces so that the municipality is saying, in terms of our plans, we're supporting, you know, your type of investments in this space anyway, so, you know, come in, you know. And MM was talking about, you know, how, you know, Arichavi, you know, information. So not only physically, but also digitally, to say, when you come into the website or when you come into the municipality, the necessary information is there to say, this is where we are investing, this is how much we're investing in the next 3 years, and if you come in here, this is what we can provide for you so that you can locate in the space. That type of attitude sort of it's a breeding ground for sort of ensuring that you are able to attract the necessary partners in our development project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The name is Munyake Mutiani. I'm a consultant, and I think part of my consultancy work is to work with international organizations. So I think the task for me here was to really build off of what Mr. Shipalana has just presented. looking at how part of how we can then attract investment into MolemoleLocal, focusing off of these international development organizations. So some of the people that I work with organizations like the World Bank. So in just trying to contextualize my presentation, I think the point has been made that within the local government space, especially rural municipalities, there's limited capacity to be able to raise our own source revenue. And a large chunk of the money that we get is really from transfers from different tiers of government. And then we need to understand that if in MoleMole we recognize this as a constraint and we want to tap into what these international organizations have to offer, the funding takes place within the context of geopolitical realities. I think it's quite clear that in the last few months or so, we've seen the rise of these far-right politics, and linked to that is the undermining of things like recognizing the impact of climate change. Added to that is the dwindling funding sources that we get from these international organizations, which would have traditionally filtered down and would have carried forward some of our development aspirations. So that pocket of money is gone. We've seen the trends with what the USA has done with USAID. We've seen some trends cascading over to the UK government. They're also tightening the belt on UK aid. So with that, I think it presents an opportunity to look at how do we then position ourselves in view of these geopolitical constraints and tensions. So we are in the global south. We cannot, or we have limited capacity to raise our own source revenues. What we used to get, we're no longer getting. So what do we then do? And I think it's not a grim reality. There's opportunities here. So if one looks at the way that these funding opportunities are, the way that they are structured, there's this fallacy that these were only applicable for larger urban municipalities, but that's not the case at all. They're actually applicable to rural municipalities. I think the challenge and the gap that we have is that we just don't know how to package our projects such that they take advantage of these funding opportunities. So what is common across, and we've made some examples there, the DBSA, C40, SECO, GIZ. What is usually common around these international organizations is that they will attach criteria for what makes a rural municipality eligible to access funding and unlock development opportunities. And part of that criteria is that your projects have to be linked to subnational plans or strategic documents or policies. If you have a project that has been conceptualized in a very haphazard manner and it's not anchored onto any kind of spatial or rigid spatial policy like Nkateko has just presented, then you really don't stand a good chance of having your project proposal go on top of the list. So some of the opportunities that are here for us is to maybe do some review work on what we have in the medium term in terms of our capital projects. Are they well packaged? A lot of what the challenges are with, I'll talk about climate-related projects, is that the packaging of them, because it's related projects, it's very difficult to demonstrate the value, right, in monetary terms. So if you could marry that idea of being able to create good business cases for these projects, I think you stand a very good chance of being able to unlock some of this funding. So each of these institutions, they have funding windows where we can put forth applications. I think what we have to figure out collectively here is what gaps do we close within how we package our existing projects so that they align more to the criteria that's put forward by this donor funding. Just to emphasize an important remark is that let's ensure that we build good strategic documents, SDFs, plans, policies, such that they anchor some of these projects. Because then, as part of the funding, you have to attach a link to your strategic documents. And if we as Mole, we do not have these strategic documents, then essentially our funding proposals go at the bottom of the pile. So what I'm just here to maybe just reiterate to the colleagues is that there are these opportunities, there's certain conditions that are attached to them, but for the most part, if we can link and anchor them on strategic spatial documents where our priorities have been clearly well defined, then we are positioning ourselves to be able to unlock the funding that's required to carry forth some of our aspirations. So thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Makudu Matunyani, Chief Director for Planning from Coxstar. Mr. Chipalana, his first slide, or one of his first slides, spoke about the downward benefits of spatial planning. And on one of them, there was housing. That's where Coxstar comes in, a human settlement perspective. Yes, Coxstar is cooperative governance, human settlement, and traditional affairs. So I'm this other guy in the middle, human settlements. So whatever I'll be talking to will be from a human settlement perspective. Yeah, and also, I'm not saying housing, I'm saying human settlement deliberately because it used to be housing, but since housing has a number of aspects, and then it has to be expanded to be human settlements. In human settlement, you talk about housing opportunities. And when we talk housing opportunities, we are talking about houses themselves, subsidized, those that are funded by government. We are talking about serviced sites for those who are earning at a certain threshold, who are not eligible for BNG or breaking new ground. And you also have tenure security. Tenure security, we are talking about title deeds for the houses that are being subsidized. My presentation in the main has three parts. The first one is policy and legislative foundation. Obviously, coming from government, we all know that government is highly regulated, so there's no way I cannot talk about a policy and legislative foundation, although I'll run very, very fast on that aspect. And then the second aspect will be looking at human settlement investment drivers. I think that's where I'll spend some time on. And then the last bit would be talking to projects that are supporting the municipality in stimulating growth. The CFO spoke about a tax base, 1,300 and something or so, around that number, but just slightly below 1,500 households, which she's collecting revenue from. And MM spoke about land issue, the relationship with a traditional leadership, which talks to the legislation that I'm about to talk to. In the first slide, and I'm not going to spend time on legislation, however, there are certain aspects that I want to talk to which have been raised, and just to confirm. Where do we come from? We come from the Freedom Charter. I'm sure, Honorable Mayor, it is Bible now, the Freedom Charter. There shall be houses, security, and comfort. That's where the basis of human settlement comes from. Where people shall have the right to live where they choose and be decently housed and bring up their families in comfort and security. And then, very importantly, Section 26 of the Constitution. This one guarantees, basically, it's signed and sealed, that Freedom Charter paragraph on there shall be houses, security, and comfort. That is that when we talk about guaranteeing, it means the government guarantees that there shall be that. And obviously within the reasonable, or rather within available resources. And I won't talk to the issue around the General Housing Act. I'll go to the next slide and talk to the issues that I want us to look at. If you look at the Section 9 of the Housing Act, number C, not the B, setting out the delivery goals, I'm not worried about that part. C, identify, they say, that section provides that every municipality must, as part of its municipal policy housing. 2C, identify and designate land for development. That's what the MM said. And then secondly, create and maintain, number D, create and maintain a public environment conducive to housing development, which is financially and socially viable. Obviously, when we talk of financially, we're talking about collecting the, expanding the tax base. And then plan and manage land use and development. And then the next part, which is 2, still the municipality must still promote housing development, or rather promote housing development projects by a developer. Now we are getting to talk about triple Ps. And again, facilitate and support the participation of other role players in the housing development process. In that space, the municipality still has to pull all the guys who are involved to start talking to one another in terms of investing. And now, when we talk to mandate of the department, I won't bore you much with this, but there are 3 outcomes that I want to talk to. 1, you develop a livable neighborhoods in both rural and urban environments and achieve spatial transformation. And then secondly, you increase access to adequate housing through various programs. And then thirdly, we talk about security of tenure and participation in the economic activities. Here what we're talking is simple. You transfer a title deed to a household. That household can now go and participate in the economic space with that title deed, in that they can get a bond, they can use the house, stroke title deed as surety to get loans, to do business, to do a whole range of things. Moving forward, this is where I want to spend time now. Human settlement investment drivers. Those are the factors that encourage and support investment in human settlements, such as housing, infrastructure, and urban development. There are 5 of them. The first one being economic drivers. Here we are talking about job creation and economic growth, which can be stimulated by investment in human settlements. And also increased property values. When you plan properly, you proclaim townships, you end up collecting and also picking up. You collect revenue and you also pick up the value of those houses. The value of those houses increase, which means you will start attracting investors. And then you look at the return on investment. That in human settlements, you can generate rental income, you can have capital appreciation, you can have dividend yield. And then social drivers. We're talking to housing demand as a result of population growth and urbanization, and also changing demographics. When we talk demographics, we are not necessarily talking about the color barrier. We are talking about the youth. How does the municipality encourage the youth to invest in the municipal space? We all know that as we grow, we tend to be attracted towards the cities. But how does MoleMole keep its youth in MoleMole? So, and then we also talk about social cohesion and community development. This is self-explanatory. The minute you start developing, you start doing that, there will be social cohesion and community development. In that, you will also have social amenities. And then environmental drivers. We're talking about sustainable development. You start talking about green building practices, renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure. Renewable energy, we all know. 1 minute, we are very, very excited. No load shedding. The next minute, it's Saturday afternoon, you want to watch soccer. Then a message pops up on your cell phone. Load shedding, you're no longer watching soccer. So now when you start talking about renewable energy, we look at other options. And again, we look at climate change resilience. We also need to look at how we adapt to climate, to extreme weather events and other climate-related challenges. You look at, for argument's sake, you look at those floods in KZN and other areas. The biggest impact on those is that a big chunk of the fiscus was redirected to KZN, billions and billions of rand. That could have gone to Limpopo to build houses, roads, and you name it. So it has to. So climate change is real. That's why it even affects other infrastructure issues. And then you look at environmental conservation. We're talking to prioritizing protection of natural habitat and ecosystems. We tend to, nowadays people are saying there's too many floods. And previously there were not too many floods. No, it's been raining almost the same. And climate change is also there. But we tend to build where the water used to pass. That's why we are crying about floods. Our grandmothers never spoke about floods because they were building closer to the hills, not where the water passes. So these are some of the things where we need to look at environmental conservation. And then again, very interesting, technological drivers. You look at the theme. It speaks about innovative investment. Now we now need to start talking about innovative construction materials and techniques. Yes, I know I come from human settlement. I should be talking about brick and mortar, but I'm here to start selling alternative building technology. Municipalities need to start, and human settlements, of course, myself included. We need to start talking about ABT, alternative building technology, and move away from brick and mortar for various reasons. And then that can make human settlements more efficient and cost-effective. University of Johannesburg has developed this 3D machine, which can build a house in no time. So a week ago, we went there to see how it operates. It's something that needs to be looked at. And then we also look at smart city technologies. We incorporate smart city technologies to enhance the quality of life for residents. This one is almost self-explanatory. You go to China, you'll see how they integrate everything from transportation to where they stay to where they work. Everything it's all technology, and it's like seamless. And their quality of life, that's why most Chinese live longer than most areas in the world. And then you look at data-driven decision making. The use of analytics, data, numbers to inform investment decisions in human settlements and optimizing returns and impact. CFO presented a very good slide on, I would say, state of health of the municipality. Those numbers, in my opinion, can tell any investor that this is something or somewhere to invest. And then the fifth one is government and policy drivers. That's where we're talking incentives. We're looking at tax breaks to encourage investors, subsidies or grants to encourage investment in human settlements. And policy and regulatory frameworks, very clear policies and regulatory framework which provide stable environment for investment. And then triple Ps. CFO spoke about that, MM spoke about that, collaboration between government and private sector entities that can facilitate investment in human settlements. And I will fly through this slide. Human settlements, or COGSTA, has got two types of grants for the province. That is Human Settlement Development Grant and Informal Settlement Upgrading Partnership Grant. Each purpose, they are all Schedule 5. But I want to focus on the purposes. Their purpose for HSDG is to provide funding for the progressive realization of access to adequate housing through creation of sustainable and integrated human settlements. Integrated human settlements, we no longer talk about housing. We talk about all typologies of housing. We also talk about live and work in those spaces, and also have social amenities. And then informal settlement upgrading partnership grant that provides or rather facilitate programmatic and inclusive and municipal-wide approach to upgrading informal settlement. Where municipalities have informal settlements, that's where the grant comes in to assist. You start from a township establishment, you formalize it, you provide bulk, and then you start by, if possible, acquiring that piece of land if it's privately owned. Then you formalize it, proclaim, ready for transfer of title deeds, provide bulk infrastructure. Then you can also provide services, reticulation. I will not talk about the outcome statements in the next slides. I will, in the interest of time. And let me talk to the projects that Coxstar is supporting municipality on in the next financial year, which is 2025-26, starting next week almost. Okay, there are 3 projects. All these projects are, okay, we can jump the slide, this one and the next slide, because I'm already on another slide. We've got 3 projects. In total, they will generate 1,386 urban sites, which now talks to what the CFO said about expanding the tax base. However, there will still be an MOU to be signed between Coxstar and municipality in order to set aside a certain number of sites for BNG. That's where we're talking integration. So all this, we are talking about township establishment right up to proclamation. And then BNG, I mean, when you see can we pass this slide? I'm already 4 slides down the road. I'm not sure who's controlling the. Yeah, move to the next slide. Yeah, move to the next slide. Okay, yeah, this one. I mean, when you see a slide as busy as this one, you know there's a problem, and I'll tell you why there's a problem. Due to funding a shrinkage, our MTDP targets have been reduced drastically. Previously, over 5 years, Coxstar used to be expected to build in the order of 30 to 40,000 houses. Now, in the next 5 years, we are only expected to build 15,000 houses in 5 years, which means in 2025-26, we are only expected to build 2,923 and service 1,962 sites. That in itself, and the factors that influence that are fiscal constraint, revision of the subsidy quantum, addition of the specifications. Now, the minister has declared that all houses need to have solar panels and rainwater harvesting devices, and also butler bars for people with disabilities. So these are some of the things. But there hasn't been any additional amount. Now, when you start calculating that, it shrinks everything. Now, for 2025-26, the MolemoleLocal will only receive 63 houses. This has been done in terms of the allocation formula. Hence, I said this is the most stressing slide ever. But then now let's talk about bulk infrastructure. Bulk infrastructure projects, there are 3 bulk infrastructure projects. All in all of them are biased and based in Mogwadi, deliberately so, to get Mogwadi to stimulate all its economic potential. Where you have services, where you have bulk, even investors will come to the party. There are 3 projects. One of them is a bulk sewer pipeline. Then you have a bulk water pipeline, elevated storage, and booster pump plus borehole assessment, those that are existing. And you also look at Mogwadi sewer treatment plant. So all this is a package that, in my opinion, can stimulate growth in the municipality. And in total, all the the projects that I spoke to for 2025-26 amount to 115 million, which means Mogwadi in the 2024-25-26 financial year will be assisted with 115 million from human settlements. Facilitator, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. I think everyone was looking at the 115 million.
Thank you, Program Director. My name is Mishak Baloi from MISA. I am actually not alone. I'm with my colleague, my boss from head office in Centurion. I know she doesn't like me calling her my boss. But our presentation will be in two parts. I will first just highlight key regulatory frameworks that we have in place within MolemoleLocal to deal with spatial planning matters. Mainly because we should not talk about infrastructure development without first taking care of our spatial planning and land use management systems and tools, because those, we believe they should dictate where we should invest and where we should put our infrastructure to ensure maximum benefit. So, but before I venture into that, I just want, for the benefit of those that don't know who we are, to just highlight in just 2 seconds who we are. We are Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent. We are an agent of the National Department of COGTA. We are an initiative that form part of the COGTA's program towards improving municipal infrastructure and maintenance for accelerated service delivery in line with the objectives of Back to Basics. In terms of just 2 seconds, our mandate, which is derived from that background, and we are required to render technical advice and support to municipalities so that they optimize municipal infrastructure provision. Secondly, we support them to and strengthen the capacity of these municipalities to provide access to basic service, exercise their powers to perform their functions required to develop and maintain and operate their infrastructure. Hence, our presentation will be in two parts. I will deal with the spatial planning aspect, and she will chip in and come with the infrastructure financing, looking at issues of alternative funding for infrastructure. We'll just quickly go to slide number 10, actually slide number 9 in terms of the order of slides. So we'll skip a couple of slides in the interest of time. I've been sent to MolemoleLocal initially in 2018, and I've been with the planning unit, or the town planning unit, from 2018 until now, so that marks around 6 years. Been supporting them. So what I want to share in this slide number 9, is just to share with our potential investors the work that has been done in MolemoleLocal from the regulatory framework perspective associated with land use management systems, so that we can then be able to sell MolemoleLocal in a manner that we are not just focusing on a number of things, but we also have systems in place that will regulate and manage a whole lot of spatial planning and land use management issues. Starting with our SDF, the SDF as the main strategic plan within spatial planning that guides where we should invest. We are confident as MISA to say we have walked the journey with the municipality from 2018, and we have supported them and ensured that we provide that technical support for them to develop what we call a SPLUMA compliant SDF. And that SDF is now due for review, so that again present an opportunity for us and investors in the room to chip in as we embark in the program next financial year, to share with us some of these interesting investment plans that they have, so that we spatially mark them into our plans or integrate them, so that also the infrastructure wing also will follow where the investment is going. Also to realign the municipality with the latest development within the province. Now we have 2 SEZ, one in Fitakhomotubadze, one towards Musina. We are sitting with a transportation corridor in N1 which passes through Butlokwa. How then do we reimagine our role in connecting these 2 SEZ and start talking from investment part, and how then do we position ourselves with regards to that? We were required in terms of SPLUMA, which is the anchor legislation for spatial planning matters and land use management, that we must have a wall-to-wall scheme, which is the regulatory framework that control what we can do on a land and we can't do. So let me say to our investors that that particular system is in place, and we are busy now with the implementation of it. Was adopted in 2023. We also have a SPLUMA bylaw, which is a mini SPLUMA, which dictates or how applications, among other things, for your development should be submitted to municipalities and assessed. It's important that as investors, you know that MolemoleLocal has adopted its SPLUMA bylaw, and we are implementing. We again require that we must establish the MPT and the authorized official. These become the 2 decision-making bodies for your development proposals when they come to the municipality. And through the journey that we have traveled with MISA, with the municipality, we have established the Municipal Planning Tribunal and authorized officials, and these are functional. The same applies to the appeal authority that is also dealing with the issues of land use. Application is also in place, but it's important to also highlight that we have also assisted the municipality to develop a number of land use policies which were triggered by the appetite for investment, like student accommodation policy. I think earlier they spoke about some of the partnerships that they want to have around that issue. So it was important to also chip in, assist in terms of that policy, so that it's in place, so that when these applications come, then we are able to then have a framework of assessment. We have also, lastly, before I hand over to my senior to look at the issues of financing of infrastructure, we have also gone to an extent of developing procedure manual that interprets SPLUMA, so that our investors, they can find it easy to understand the step-by-step of developing within the spaces, the submission of applications and all these things to the municipality. So we have packaged that nicely for them to be able to easily understand those processes. So I will just hand over to my colleagues to just talk on issues of infrastructure financing. Thank you.
Thanks, and good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Judin Kosi, not the boss. you know, when you have to manage the time when you are the last speaker. So I'm going to try to run through the presentation, but suffice to indicate that what he highlighted is that as MISA, we support municipalities on a number of areas as it relates to infrastructure, so the whole value chain. So one of the core area is around the financing of infrastructure. I want to talk to these. The MM and everybody else have already talked to some of the challenges, which we all agree this is what is happening in the space. What I think maybe I can look into is that as much as there are challenges, as government and anybody else, we are aware, we are alive to these challenges. So there are some of the reforms that we have introduced in the system so that we can assist the municipalities to look into other ways of financing infrastructure, because the current or the traditional way of doing things is not sustainable. Everybody has been saying the fiscus is shrinking, so we can't rely on the transfers that are coming from the national government and the provinces. So there are some reforms that have been introduced. One can look into some of the areas around, I'm on slide 14. So things around where in the grants there have been reforms on how municipalities can actually use the conditional grants to use that as a leverage to get funding from the private sector, what we call conditional grants pledging. And there have been some revision in terms of the existing legislation wherein various number of mechanisms have been outlined which municipalities can actually utilize in order to explore or rather to develop infrastructure. We're looking around your pooled financing. So there are a number of mechanisms which government feels that they have not been explored, and there's an opportunity to use those. In the main, there's also municipal manager talk about the private sector participation. So there's also an opportunity for partnerships. Some of the municipalities that we have supported them, which are more or less similar to Molemole, is we do have a number of them where they have mines within their jurisdiction. And what we do is they do have social labor plans wherein it requires the mines to earmark certain funding for municipalities. So what we have done with them is to how then do we use the commitments by the mines. We use that as a funding that can be utilized in addition to development of infrastructure. And there are a lot of municipalities that are coming on board now. Initially, it was an issue of social areas, you know, things that doesn't create value in the municipalities. So we've been trying to reach out to them and say, if you put in an infrastructure that can unlock development, you get more in future where you can have more money that you can use for these other things that you are looking for. So we're getting a lot of traction around that, where that money is now redirected to infrastructure development. So those are some of the support that we are providing to municipalities. If you can move to the next slide. My friend here was talking about some of the opportunities that are there internationally about your DFIs, wherein there are a lot of donor funding which municipalities can actually apply and get funding. Even here in the country or home, we do have these opportunities. Your likes of your BFI, what we call Budget Facility for Infrastructure, which is run by National Treasury. They're looking into a project around $1 billion upwards. And this has always been a challenge when we look into municipalities, because most of us, we don't have that project that can give us $1 billion. We have been engaging with them until to a point where they are saying, for municipalities, we can say municipal infrastructure, which means as a municipality, you can have an application that can have water, roads, and any other key sector as one application that give you $1 billion. I mean, there are some who can clap to that. It has been a long journey until we get there. There are some, if you have listened to the Minister of Finance, they have announced a lot of municipalities that now are in the pipeline being approved. So there is at least light at the end of the tunnel wherein we are getting more and more municipalities getting approved. But I think at the end of my slide, I will also touch into one of the area which he highlighted, which is around how then as a municipalities, the capability and capacity to prepare these projects. I mean, if you're talking about a billion-rand project, it requires a lot of expertise. And as a municipality, you must have that capacity. The question becomes, what are those support that are in place wherein we can make sure or ensure that we support these municipalities in order to access these kind of opportunities. If we can move to the next slide. Okay, these were some of the examples wherein when we engage with municipalities, we give them some ideas on how they can put together their BFI applications. What is key though is that when you provide or when you are putting in an application, it same applies even with the donors. It's not a matter of you have to go there and get all the funding from these people. They also want to see as a municipality where you make commitments that yes, I'm asking for this amount. I can set aside certain portion, which as a municipality I can also provide. We have seen that if we use that approach, there's high successes in the application. So we provide these different scenarios of how as a municipality you can structure the application where you can use portion of your MIG grant. You can, if a municipality has the mining, that's where they become very critical. You can say the portion that I'm getting from the SLP, I'm actually going to use it toward this. And also you can say, if we have that capacity, you can say a certain portion, I can also get it from your DFI, such as your DPSA, wherein you get your concessional loan, where the interests are very low. So you can have scenarios wherein you use, that's where we start to talk about blended approach of financing. But this kind of an approach, it has a huge success from the BFI application. Most of the municipalities that have been approved, we have worked with them and they have used more or less these kind of approaches. The next one. So we also take into consideration some municipalities, they don't have that cash balance to go to the market. And we are saying in those cases where you can't be able to get to the market, you can actually look into your own portion, which can be your MIG or SLP or any other thing that you can look as a municipality. We are talking about the expansion of MolemoleLocal in terms of the development. National Treasury has introduced the legislation, what we call development charges. That is one other opportunity because development charges allow the developer to contribute a particular amount in terms towards the bulk. So that one is also allowed where you can blend, and also even the money that I will get from the development charges, I'm going to pledge it towards this together with my MIG, together with my SLP. That it makes your business case to be more attractive and you get that approval. I think this is the last, next slide. Okay, this is another option that is there. I don't want to talk about this. It's very complicated, but in the main is how as a municipality you can use the portion of your conditional grant to get money from the market of the private sector. But with this one, the market or whoever the structure that is there, they come in assisting with also the development of infrastructure and also the maintenance of infrastructure. And then after some time, it's more of a quasi triple P, but it's not a fully triple P. Kind of somehow is cushioned because here you put in your emphasis on the conditional grants other than the revenue that will be generated in the future. It's a bit complicated, but if municipalities have interest, we do make time to take them through in details around this kind of instruments. The next one, and you can take to the next one again. These are some of the examples. I don't want to spend much time on this. This is the one that I want to talk to say at the core of, or the key success of all these programs, all these initiatives, all these opportunities that I spoke about is around the project preparation. if you don't have capacity and the capability to package your project, to package your business cases, it's not going to help us. And we do appreciate that municipalities, they don't have that capacity. Hence, as MISA will also partner with some of our key stakeholders, your likes of your DBSA, your Infrastructure South Africa, wherein if a municipality has a project, we take the project, we work together with the partners, we prepare and package until to the last end, wherein we put in for the application. It be for the BFI or any other funding opportunities that we can identify together with the municipality. So that is one of the key support that as MISA we are providing, where we are mobilizing various key partners to ensure that we can support the municipalities. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. I was asked to be the one who, what is it? It's called facilitate, this session. But I know the overall facilitator will be very angry at me if I continue and have the conversation. But I think the key takeaways from sort of the various conversations are, number one, from a special perspective, we need to ensure that our special prioritization is clear. We need to acknowledge that in terms of the various funding streams that are there, there is, funding, available between DFI institutions, donors, etc., including MISA, and more importantly, there is ongoing funding that's happening, such as, for example, the 115 million that has been allocated to the municipality in the short term. But, other than that, I think there are, further opportunities to engage with colleagues. I'm sure you saw them. Let's have the conversation maybe during lunch if we want to explore, these topics any further. Thank you, everyone, for coming on stage.
Thank you very much for the first panel, which absolutely did set the scene when it comes to the importance of spatial planning and how it links to infrastructure, particularly the built infrastructure, and the opportunities that MolemoleLocal can take advantage of in terms of building their sources of financing for development of infrastructure. So we are going to call up the next panel, although I am going to take leverage in terms of my authority as the program director to say that let's have the lead discussant. When I say lead discussant, that's the presenter. The presenter sets the scene for us, but those who are here to be panelists, they must be able to have an ear in terms of what it is that the lead discussant has articulated, in which we as an organization or an institution, we can latch on in terms of providing the support or extra resources. So we are going to take that kind of approach. In academia, we take that approach in order to avoid long presentations. As academics, we don't like long presentations. We want you to get to the point. So I would like to call the next panelist to come up and lead us with his presentation. 10 minutes, strictly 10 minutes. And you can do 10 minutes. I did my Viva in 10 minutes. I presented a 300-page PhD document in 10 minutes in front of a panel that was going to question me for 2 hours. You can do it. So can I kindly ask you to come up to the stage and lead us into the discussions. Panelists, please do come up as well.
Thank you. Good afternoon, mayoral committee members and management. I request Mrs. Spongile from Agriculture Rendane Morovi from Potato SA, and Tatetsiri from Mashimunga MoleMole, and any other person who's supposed to be on the stage to come through. Thank you. Can I kindly get the last chair for Mr. Oh, we are fine. Looks like we're fine. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Good afternoon once more. My name is Midupisha Bangu. I am a resident of MolemoleLocal Municipality from Flora Village. It is a privilege for me to introduce to you the panelists who are here. As part of what the chair, the program director has indicated, I will set the scene, be very pointed, and request the respondents to respond accurately within 10 minutes. Will be done. And lastly, I need all the panelists here to make a commitment if they've got a budget, because this is an investor conference. Ideally, we need to know who puts what and how much and for what. If there's no money, an indication should be there will be bilaterals following after this discussion, where us and the municipality will engage and determine exactly what type of support we can provide. Short and straight to the point. Conference members, this is what is happening. Molemole has seriously positioned itself as an agricultural hub in the country. Most importantly, it has positioned itself as what one can call, I've never heard this term before, I just coined it now, as the potato basket of Limpopo, and also as the export potato basket of South Africa, both locally and internationally. More so, the composition of that production capacity, not only of potato, but also of other agricultural crops within the district, have demonstrated that the economy is growing and there's great potential for local household production for food security, 2 SMMEs in agriculture, 3 cooperatives. Essentially, we've got an economy that is actually moving. But I need to pose this question to my panelists. Firstly, starting with a representative of government, Mrs. Wongile, briefly. What is the position of revitalization of agriculture and agro-processing value chains? What is the vision of revitalizing value chains in the specifically in the province? Obviously, you can locate it to Molemole if you have specifics. In 2 minutes, thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. As alluded, I'm Sibongile Makwarela, responsible for agro-processing and value-add initiatives. Within Department of Agriculture, we are guided by the master plan, which is the revitalization of agriculture and agro-processing plan. Our plan solely is to make sure that in terms of agro-processing, thank you, Chair, is to make sure that in terms of the RAVAC plan, we need to make sure that we increase the production of our black farmers to make sure that at the end of the day, they contribute competitively and comparatively. Within the municipality, as Department of Agriculture, we have various initiatives. We have an initiative that we are working through hand and gloves with our partner here, Potato SA, who are anticipating that within the next 5 years, there's going to be a big potato processing plant, which is going to be called Vivo Fries. It's a processing plant in collaboration with various stakeholders, such as IDC, Leather, Department of Agriculture, AGDA, VKB, municipalities. It's one of the main processing facilities that we are collaborating within. But instead of that, when talking about agro-processing, it's one of the things that, in terms of our SMME, I will be glad to collaborate with the municipalities. Can we come up with viable plans? Because we tend to talk about the big farmers, but who are living around our SMMEs. In terms of the MMEs, if the municipalities can make sure that they put aside the land whereby most of our SMMEs, because within the Capricorn district, currently I've trained plus or minus 50 SMMEs in agro-processing, of which we train them on the HACCP certification, which is one certification that if we neglect it, our SMMEs, they don't manage to go and facilitate and access the credible retailers or where they can market their produce. Because one thing, for you to be competitive, you need that HACCP certification. It's one of the things that as municipality, we need to make sure that we secure funding for our SMMEs, because in terms of the commercial farmers, they are there, they all have those certifications. But in terms of our SMMEs, if we can collaborate together, we put aside the land and then we talk in terms of enterprises where Mole is comparative and is competitive about. We can talk about the potatoes, but already in terms of the potatoes, as I alluded, there is a big initiative that is coming, which is gonna called Vivo Fries. But in terms of the SMMEs, if we can look at the central place, we build something around Mole, where all of them that are engaged in agro-processing, in whatever, it can be chili sauce, it can be whatsoever, but if you can have a central hub where we can fund them, I think it's going to be more feasible.
Thank you. I think what the pointers that one can take, thank you for a round of applause, is she emphasizes the need to have continuous bilateral discussions between the department and the municipality, which I think is one of the way forward. And most importantly, she emphasized a need for certification, training on certification for compliance. But what I've picked up, Rendani is from Potato SA, you'll introduce yourself before you speak, is that she's talking about Vivo Fries. And that on its own constitutes quite a significant investment. Tell us, how much are you bringing and when are we actually looking at it? We don't understand it's a moving target. Thank you.
Thank you, Medupi. My name is Rendani, like he indicated. I'm from Potato, South Africa. I'm responsible for transformation, meaning that I work with farmers of color, trying to fit them in within the whole value chain of the potato production. I think as we've had, I think this initiative is also linked to actually correcting the injustices of the past. My job is actually linked to that, to make sure that potato farmers are commercialized. Maybe when we talk about how much have we committed, that's a big question. As Potato SA, we do not have funds to dedicate directly to the plant, but we have the skills and the expertise to coordinate. Hence, Sis Bongile has mentioned, there are stakeholders in place to ensure that our business concept is able to source that funding. However, if it's a processing plant, it needs a throughput. Primary production is crucial to ensure that there will be constant supply to the actual plant. One of our programs, which is enterprise development, caters for that. Although it's not a comprehensive program, we rely a lot on partnerships from the likes of the department, your finances, the likes of your ACHDA, and a lot of other stakeholders to ensure that we've got equipped farmers. I think I was very happy when I saw that one of the farms that is not only a land reform farm, it's also under Mole, and which we coordinated finance for, is part of those farmers that are producing potatoes, and also an example to show that we might not have the financial means as Potato SA to take the farmers to where we want them to be, but with partnerships, we are able to do that. What I can say, Medupi, is I think although the capital will be a lot, we are in a space to coordinate that funding. So in this instance, I can say Tumamina or Tumatina, Potato SA is ready to spearhead that program.
Let me take the latitude to engage you. Can you actually share a little bit, a synopsis in a minute and a half of who are those partners and how much literally are they looking at? Ideally, not entirely, so that we give our audience a preview of what is likely to come if everything falls into place in terms of the fries, the plant?
Okay, I think that the most important partner in this instance is the custodian of the land. The plant, like she indicated, it's been identified. The site is in Denron. MolemoleLocal Municipality owns that land. And maybe just to add on that, because we also need to expand production, I think the tribal authority within those areas will play a key role in ensuring that there is access to land. That is two. The second one is the finances. Because this one is going to be a joint venture between commercial and developing farmers, we will need finances to step in, be it Nedbank, because I saw them here, and other finances. Your DTIC, it's one of those people that will be in place. Limpopo Department of Agriculture, who have so far played a very key role, along with a leader, to ensure that at least the scoping phase takes place, because as I've indicated, we operate with levy funds. CFO, when I saw your budget, I was like, look, my budget is peanuts compared to that. I can only imagine what we can do with a lot of money. One of the other stakeholders is the market, be it the agro-processors. Mind you, when we do the chips factory, our aim is not to compete with the likes of McCain, Frymax, Wheelards, or whoever is there. Those people are also part and parcel of the committees we have to ensure that once this plant has been initiated, we are able to market it, which is the whole idea. And I think it not only, this will be one of those initiatives where, as the municipalities, the revenue you were talking about definitely is going to go high, because we are talking about at least a 3 billion investment. That would require all those stakeholders to be in place. And I think we should commend Ntateng Washeng for this. I think during deliberations, there were talks of us wanting to move the plant to Polokwane, and he was very adamant to say, look, the aim of this plant should not be only to put it in the city. We need to also uplift the rural economy. And I think those are the other benefits. The dwellers of MolemoleLocal will get that benefit. Even farmers themselves, I think, beside us wanting to be innovative and creating opportunities, Limpopo currently is one of the biggest potato producers in South Africa, if not even in the other African continent. So Limpopo amounts to over 40% of the total country's production, and the challenge they've had is the volatility in the market price. So farmers will definitely benefit, because this plant is going to be just in their convenience. Maybe lastly, the other partners that maybe I've forgotten, training and capacity building. Mind you, if we are going to be doing this type of initiative, we need to be able to skill people there, not just soft skills, but these are skills that will include management and other, I think, technical skill sets that are required. So I think, without maybe having forgotten some of the other stakeholders, I think those are just some of the few stakeholders that we have. But government is actively involved in this.
Let's give her a round of applause. I will take the latitude to take few questions in a few minutes. Ntate Tsiri, there's an emphasis about we want living examples of what exactly is happening. We understand you are a beneficiary of a program that actually is linked to what they are doing. Can you just share with us briefly in 4 minutes or 3 minutes what exactly transpired, and what is your potential support system in giving back some farmers, younger and older, in terms of exposing them to that space in terms of experience? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ragodi Tsiri from a company called MolemoleLocal Farming Cooperative. We met through a program of the municipality called Youth in Agriculture in 2013. The company is run by graduates. Through the partnerships, the municipality partnerships with government departments, we managed to get a farm, Valbeck Farm, 826 hectares in 2015. 826 hectares in 2015. From 2015 to 2020, it was not easy, because we were looking into cattle production. We were only dealing with livestock. 2021, we managed to get partnerships with the government and Potato SA. That's when we started to go into producing potatoes. Over the years, with the mentorship we got from Potatoes and the learning and everything from the government departments, I think Mrs. Queen is here, yes, we managed to produce from 2022 from 2021 to 2024. We managed to produce up plus minus 150 tons of potatoes. From last year, due to floods, we didn't produce that well, but I can promise that tomorrow we are going back and we are planting again 10 hectares of potatoes. And potato is not what we are looking at only. We're still keeping the livestock. We have gone into fishery, and we're keeping the pigs. With the opportunity presented to us by Sesrendan and Sesbongil, I think it's a great initiative for us, the farmers around the MoleMole, because we are the hub. We are producing one of the largest around Limpopo, if I'm not mistaken. We are producing the biggest tonnage of potatoes, if I'm not mistaken. So, with that plan placed in us, I think it creates a great opportunity for us. Thank you.
Following up on you, how many employees do you have, permanent, and how many seasonal do you take? Lastly, can you commit to the community that supported you to take in students, either through a bilateral discussion and agreement with the municipality? Thank you.
We have 15 permanent workers. Seasonally, we take about 70 to 80, but we need to grow. We need to grow that number to at least go into 150. Over the years, we have had partnership with companies, those that bring students to our farm so that we can capacitate the same way that I think I'm safe to mention one of our mentors who welcomed us into his farm and capacitated us with everything. And Dr. Montla Bailimak. Chief. We're looking into that so that we can capacitate. We've been doing it, and there's a need to grow so that we can capacitate more, grow the business more. Thank you.
So and the team, that actually is a challenge upon yourselves to actually continue on bilaterals. Open up the spaces, open for intake of more learners. Nico, what is LEADER doing, and what is your future prospects in terms of investment? Remember, investment could both be in terms of your time, your technical expertise. It does not only have to be money.
Thank you, and good afternoon, conference. Yeah, look, LEADER, as the provincial business entity, we are there to serve the community at large. We are also there to partner with all government spheres and government institutions like your municipalities. Ours is to promote agro-processing. We make sure that whatever that gets to be produced in the province gets value added, and it leaves our shores as a value-added product. That in that way, it will yield more revenue, and subsequent to that, create more jobs opportunities and grow the economy at large. We are guided by the agro-processing strategy in the province, which clearly profiles our province in terms of what gets to be produced in which part of the country. So we are delighted to have Potato SA, and we urge the municipality to take pride on that. If it was possible, we were going to even add potato into the name of MoleMole and say MoleMole Potato Municipality, because we need to take advantage of that, and that's how really we spread the word and interact. Everybody in South Africa will say, why are they calling them potato? It's because we're the largest and the best producing region in South Africa, and for that we need to take advantage, and that's how we can easily rob in many other opportunities, investment opportunities. So what we do, we look at what is each and every part of our province strong at, and then we leverage on that. We make sure that we mobilize investors, other stakeholders across all spheres of government to come and partner with us and the municipalities. In terms of what the CFO has presented as a way of finding other means of attracting revenue for the municipalities of collection, we can do that as a provincial government business entity. we are able to, on behalf of municipalities, we can partner with the strategic investors that can come and invest, and then in that way derive revenue for the municipalities. So that there are many smart ways that we can together in this fashion as we interact and we collide and form partnership in an approach in each and every opportunity of investment that we see through. So that's what we are, and we are delighted that we have this. We are doing the same with other districts and other municipalities, and in Vembe and Waterberg as well. We have got initiatives, we've got projects at hand, and yeah, we are delighted as leader to pursue even others within the MolemoleLocal municipalities.
Lastly, maybe through you, I know I'm pressed for time, just 3 questions or comments from the floor if there is any. By indication of hands, if there is any, I would like to have the mic passed on through. There's a colleague down there, maybe there's MM, there's also my brother there. I don't know whether there's a roving mic. Maybe if you start, yeah, you can start.
Thank you very much, facilitator. In terms of the presentations from colleagues, one would want to know what are transformative numbers we are talking about. When you talk about capacitating local farmers, local producers, we need to start having targets, numbers, so that then it's easily trackable. One can see in the first financial year, this is how much you did, this is what you planned.
Thank
so
you.
If you can just share with us the numbers. Thank you.
Okay, we'll pass the second question, and then we'll go to, the second, then we'll go to the last.
Thank you, facilitator.
Please introduce yourself. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, facilitator. We are from Capricorn. Thanks for this event, an eye-opener and a good initiative. Mine is just an input to say, let us capitalize, especially when it comes to potato. One of the first potato. The mic is failing me. One of the first potato seed producers in the district in Blowback municipality, because when it comes to potato production, the major cost is in the seed. So we are very much blessed to say they are neighbors, they are brothers, Vanyalelana. So the cost of procuring potato seed will be a little bit viable. Thank you.
Much appreciated. The last one, then I'll wrap, I'll just cover and wrap.
No, thanks very much, program facilitator. Let me first acknowledge and appreciate the inputs and presentations that have been made. But safe to say, as part of summing up, we would engage further outside conference to reduce all this to action plan, and then with the specific numbers, so that come the next conference we are able to report back to say, with leader, this is what we have done from this up to this. So I just wanted to give the attendees comfort to say we'll have further discussions outside to fine tune and refine some of your commitments. Thanks very much.
Thanks. As I'm closing, thanks for answering. I think you are answered about the transformative numbers. I think you can even take the discussion at lunch with him and share with everyone. But lastly, 4 points for me. There's a need for more collaboration, especially intensely in terms of discussions at project conceptualization now, as Rendani has pointed, that there are many stakeholders. That's the takeaway. Meaning the municipality and its own partners are closely working on it. And the issue, I tried to press Rendane from Potato SA, she indicated an average, slightly almost around 3 billion. Obviously that's conventionally your venture capital that would actually be able to explore from somewhere, and private investors who are farmers, and mostly also probably your what do you call, grants capital, public capital, state capital, which will form grants which will come from the government. As number 2, answering the how much of it. Lastly, issues that you emphasized around training. I think that collaboration should be a trilateral collaboration between agriculture and the municipality in terms of identifying who also can be able to support the training program, both on soft skills and technical skills. The last one, Tatatiri made himself available to take a lot of students or any other farmers, small farmers. On that note, I thank you. Let me close it. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you to that last panel. I truly loved that algorithm, and I think we should stick to that algorithm in the next panels that we're going to have. So we are now ready to have lunch. So we will proceed for lunch, but because of time constraints, we are going to have lunch for about 30 minutes, and then we come back so that we can have the next panel. There's a panel request of actually having them follow as panel number 3, which is investments in skills development, the NYDA. And then that panel will be followed by the unlocking of potential mineral values. Lastly, we will have tourism. So my lead panelists, if you can keep that algorithm, we definitely are going to get by today and be done by 4 o'clock. So let us proceed to have lunch, and then we'll be back here after 30 minutes. The lunch is in a lapa. As we exit, the lapa is towards the swimming pool, so we will be going straight ahead to go and have lunch there. Thank you very much. See you back in 30 minutes.
You better check out InDrive. InDrive? I use it all the time. You can choose the best price there. And even the driver. InDrive. Ride at a fair price with the driver you trust.